My inspiration was never seeing an Asian male role model speaking on those platforms. I wanted to become the version that I was missing growing up. One of the biggest aspirations I had was to be recognized globally by Forbes. But when I got there, I felt nothing. My wife asked me, honey, how does it feel to be recognized by Forbes? And I said, it felt lonelier than ever. I don't want our kids to grow up and live in fear. Tomorrow's not promised. Live every day like you'll die tomorrow, so that only then will you truly understand how to fully live today.
We're here with Rick, and I'm so excited to get to sit down with you today. I believe the first time I met you at the panel, I just heard so much good things about you. Like every time I see you speak, I get so much just good things to be said about you, and I knew I had to, get to know you and hopefully work with you, and now I get to do that. So yeah, we're gonna get to learn a lot about Rick today, and I'm so excited and grateful that you're here.
I'm grateful for being here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Right?
Yes.
You are like a financial guru, right? So what started it? What started all your personal finance journey?
I think it was all by accident. Oftentimes people think where we land or end up meant to be. It wasn't. If I were to look back and think about my career journey, I was mostly asked to be good at math, be a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And unfortunately, I disappointed my parents and I wanted to be an investment banker. So my senior year of college, I was confident as I received an offer to be an investment banker, but it was really the last interview I went on that gave me an opportunity to be a financial planner, helping people with managing their wealth and helping them understand their financial literacy journey. So I would say how or why I ended up where I am was all by accident, but sometimes I do truly believe our life path has already been pre-written. And as soon as I've gotten into my industry, although it was an extreme struggle in the beginning, worked really hard, and I had to change the way I thought about finance from a immigrant Chinese Asian background mentality to really evolve and level up to more of a Western culture way. But there's so much things I learned from the East, really adapting and complementing the ways and teachings of the West to create my own process and style. And today, I'm fortunate to be a financial wealth team for many business owners and professionals around the world.
I love that. So what would you say is one practice from the Eastern world or from your family that you kind of carried with you, like a money lesson?
I would say it's very important to be meticulous on calculating what's the difference between wants versus needs, and never spend more than you can afford. Being hardworking, disciplined in savings. I think oftentimes when it comes to managing money, some people spend and save. I was taught at an early age to save, then potentially spend. And that really helped me because it allowed me to build a lot of great habits and discipline. And that's really the foundation on what we taught many families and young professionals and how I built my company and all the different assets and businesses that I have.
Okay, love that. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like saving is huge in our culture, in our families, but sometimes you have to kind of unlearn that. Like it's not only about saving, right? We need to be able to let go of it to be able to grow it.
Yep.
And I find that that's a struggle sometimes with families.
100%. So I just shared with you what my Eastern roots taught me that were really productive, helpful. What are some negatives? Let's talk about that. It's the simple fact that debt is bad. I think too many minority or Asian culture teaches us debt is bad. Cash is king, and that's completely false, a myth. To truly understand how to maximize the wealth building system, you have to understand leverage, capital. And you really need to understand not just active income, work, too hard. It's about passive income. So I think once you fully understand ways of the East, which are really disciplined habits, calculating and being mathematic, separating wants versus needs, and then understand the ways of the West on how to truly build wealth, buy back your time, delegate, leverage, then you can build the ways of the future.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think you ever had a limiting belief that you recognized and you were like, oh, no, I need to change ways, and you actually learned that?
More than I can remember or forget. I grew up in a traditional immigrant family, came to America from China in the 1970s. I was their firstborn, and we grew up with a very scarce mentality. Parents work 7 days a week. We, in fact, were scared to spend money. I think oftentimes people look at who you are today as like the final version, but they don't understand the journey. I grew up poor. Our families on Medicaid. People had like Nikes, Jordans. My kids, fortunately, when their feet gets too big, we change their sneakers. For us, it didn't work the same way. If our feet gets too big, I would ask my uncles and aunts for hand-me-downs. I think growing up, being in that environment, scarcity, it also oftentimes limited my ability to really grow. But it was after college, after school, and really learning from some of the most successful people that I've been around and exposed to, that I realized we don't have to live that way. And when it comes to really building wealth, it starts with your mindset. So you can choose scarcity, or you could choose abundance. And if I had to choose each and every time, there always should be abundance.
What would you say is one simple but powerful way that someone can practice abundance? That might be
A great book I would recommend someone to read is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. When I was very young in my percussion career, a mentor, coach of mine, recommended me to read that book. And it talked about the 3 good things. It talks about how every morning, every night, you manifest your goals. And oftentimes I did that. And then, although to me, oftentimes things felt like a dream, later on became a goal, then became a reality. And now today, many of the dreams I used to have are now today my minimum. So I think for a lot of people that may have limited beliefs, we all heard this, it matters a lot who you surround yourself with. Also matters the books you read, your exposure to your environment. And I think as long as you have abundance, as long as you start talking to yourself, is a practice I tell people. Every morning, I start saying things to myself, words of affirmation. When I was younger, I used to do it. Even today, as older, I try to do it. I just recommend don't say it out loud, right? So I talk to myself in my mind. And, our mind can play funny games. We can either say things that are self-defeated thinking, or we could say things that are self-empowering. And I think for me, I try to eliminate any type of self-defeating. Like, if I can be any more motivation and inspiring to my own self in my head, I probably jump and think I could fly and touch the ceiling, which I can't. I tried playing basketball at a young age. I have no jumps, no ups, but I think it's whatever, as corny as it may sound, especially for young people, it truly matters a lot. Whatever you can conceive and believe, you surely can achieve. And even if you can't achieve it, why not dream? In life, why not dream as big as you possibly can? And never, ever let anyone tell you what is realistic. And I hate the fact that there's so many people that give up on their dreams because their environment does not allow them to dream big. And they try to share that opinion to make you think less of who you are and what you can potentially accomplish. So as long as we can dream big and fully imagine our creative mind, let it explore, I think anything is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that you emphasize the importance of your environment, who you surround yourself with. And I've learned it doesn't have to be physical people, right? Such as, the people that we read, the office that we read. Like, that's sort of the mindset that we're surrounding ourselves as well. Because sometimes people are stuck right at home and they're stuck in an environment where they have to be with family. So it's a little bit harder, I feel like, to get ourselves out mentally. But, finding different ways to surround ourselves with new ways of thinking, so important.
Yeah. Although there are people that you may or may not meet in this lifetime because they've already passed on, but there's so many books, libraries, generational knowledge that we can certainly have access to and can help evolve and change our way of thinking and level up our way of growth and exploration.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you mentioned to not say your affirmations out loud. I would like to disagree with that.
Sure.
So why do you say
Well,
that?
if I scream it out loud in this full room, it's kind of weird, right?
What if you're by yourself?
Oh, by myself. Oh, absolutely. You can certainly do that. It's just don't practice too much and not notice your environment. But certainly when you're by yourself, you should. I talk about the 4-minute brushing your teeth in the past, 2 minutes. So I use electric toothbrush as long as I can remember. But 2 minutes of it is the normal, recommended by dentists. But don't worry. My dentist says my gums and teeth are really healthy and clean. But the first 2 minutes, actually say words of affirmation. But the next 2 minutes, I start manifesting my day. So when I wake up, I say, well, today I'm going to go into Manhattan. I start manifesting potential routes I take, traffic, manifest the meetings I have, manifest the people I will have conversations with. So before it even happened, it's already happened in my mind. So I'm just reliving those moments. And oftentimes, if you do it enough, you can actually predict your future. And we've all heard of deja vu. Sometimes I relive the moments in my mind multiple times before it happens in real life.
Okay, I love that. That's new.
Yeah.
And I struggle with visualization, so that might be good to sort of incorporate into the daily practice.
Yes.
And I gotta brush my teeth more.
Yeah, maybe brush your teeth. Oh, no, that's right. Right. Strong mind and strong gums.
Yeah.
Great combination. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Well, you have played a lot of roles, right? So whether you're speaking on a stage, you're speaking on a podcast, what was your biggest inspiration to venture into this world?
As honest as I can be and as sad as I can be, my inspiration was never seeing an Asian male role model speaking on those platforms. And I have so much admiration and respect for all the people that are so incredibly talented. I've never grown up seeing someone that looks like you and I. And that was my inspiration. I wanted to become the version that I was missing growing up. And now that I'm a father of 3 kids, I want them to grow up to see people that may look like them, talk like them, raised in an environment similar to them, where they can be inspired. So I get that question often, like who inspired me? And I think really, really long time, I really manifested an imaginary person in my mind, which is a version of myself when I was a young person, that when I was inspired by that person, I chased and I ran towards becoming that person. And I always say what really changed me, I started doing a lot more podcast speaking events. It was during COVID. So a story was, my entire career, one of the biggest aspirations I had was to be recognized globally by Forbes. And, when I couldn't be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, being an only child and disappointing to my parents, I knew that one day if I'd recognized, nationally, publicly by a magazine like Forbes, my parents would be proud, and they were proud. But when I got there, I felt nothing. I remember it was like 2020 when we were recognized. My wife asked me, honey, how does it feel to be recognized by Forbes? And I said, it felt lonelier than ever. And she said, why? This was what you always wished for. And that was the same year Asian Hate started. That was the same year as we had our best year ever. That year, I saw all the violence on social media. And I started thinking to myself, as I'm being recognized in my career and category, there's so many people nationally or globally being assaulted, verbally abused, and living in fear. And why should they live that way? And I have so much respect for every ethnic community where they have their heroes speaking up for them. But when I saw that happening to our community, I get to see heroes, someone to stand up for us. So I told my wife that year, honey, I want to do social media. She's like, why? You suck at this. And I was like, well, thank you, babe, for your support. And I said, I don't want our kids to grow up and live in fear. So I decided to speak on podcasts, YouTube, start creating our own social media. And the content I create, all coming from my lack of creative mind, as my wife would say, is to just motivate and inspire people with goodness and belief in themselves. So that's why I did social media. It was never about me, never self-serving. It was always thinking about, hey, if I left this world, because COVID was so scary, I had clients that passed away. I had family members, friends, loved ones that passed away. And I thought to myself, which is why I wrote a book that year, it's called Unleash. Live every day.
A book?
Yeah, did it many times. I just have to yet to print it and publish it. It's called Unleash. Live every day like you'll die tomorrow, so that only then will you truly understand how to fully live today. So I wrote that quote because I felt that tomorrow's not promised, that too many people assume that they have all the time in the world. And then because I truly believed in that philosophy and lived and breathed it, then I said, why not now? And I created social media, podcasts, speaking events, and every day I try to live my fullest day I can possibly do.
That's awesome. It's a very important reminder that, life is not guaranteed. And right, to be more grateful and be more present. That's how we live happier lives. Because, we don't know when our time is up.
That's right.
I was listening to a podcast by Ed Milet. And he's talking about QTR, quality time remaining. Like he's formed like these like group chats where he's like 40 to 70-year-olds, and they like post different like moments in their lives that they want to remember because they know there's limited time remaining, whether it's 2 weeks to decades. And I thought that was really sweet.
Prior to COVID, I used to think that we control our fate and destiny, but seeing some people that I know that are extremely young and pass on, not knowing that was their time. I truly do believe our time is already pre-written. And I was watching a video, I think it was Denzel Washington. He said, imagine you live at your dying bed and you're surrounded by the spirits of your unfulfilled potential. All those versions of you come out and say, for example, if there's a basketball player version of me and I look at him, it's like, who are you? And he's like, I would have been the version of you at the NBA if you ate more, worked out more, and jumped higher. So I think about that a lot. I think about every one of us have our unfulfilled potential. And that's why I always talk about unleashing your greatest version.
Well, I gotta read your book, but you gonna publish it?
I will. I'm glad I didn't publish it because during COVID, it was really relevant. I read it every once in a while when I do have time, like probably on a quarterly basis. And I've edited probably at least a dozen times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have an editor?
Yeah, I have a team that helps me. Let's just say I've spent as much as a luxury car on it, but yet to print it. So we'll see. Probably when I spend almost like the price of a house on it, I'll force myself to print it because being in finance, it's a zero ROI right now.
Right.
It's a sunk cost, right?
Yeah. So what's holding you back?
Perfection. I think that's what hold a lot of people back. It's not how, I think a lot of people, when it comes to sharing their story, they feel they're held back by other people's perception of them. That is not important to you. I think I'm either too old now to care about those things, but what's holding me back is it the greatest version that I could possibly print? And if it's not worthy of being read. That's my personality. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to do my absolute best, or I'm not going to do it at all. That's who I am.
Well, yeah, I believe it's already great, but I trust that you will release it whenever it's ready.
Yes. All 18 chapters.
18.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lucky number. That's my sorority number.
Oh, really? That's really cool. I think. Oh, wow. You had a big class then.
Well, that's my number in the chapter.
Oh, okay. Number 18.
Yeah.
All right.
So my class was big. Get 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
My chapter number, I was 225. But my line number, I was number 4. So once I got that number, I was like, oh my God, I got to drop because I'm the shortest, but I can't have a number 4 on me, right?
Yeah.
Asian.
Oh, you didn't change it?
I didn't change it. I started and I had to finish it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, since we mentioned college, what would you say is a lesson you've taken from college or the fraternity that you carry with you?
Humility. But prior to going to college, I was an only child. And I think there's a difference between cockiness and confidence. The difference, clearly, at least to me today, cockiness and arrogance are the people that say they'll do something and never commit and follow through and execute. Confidence, you say you'll do it, you follow through, make a promise, keep that promise, and you always fulfill it. I was a very cocky, arrogant, only child. And when I went to college, joining my fraternity, I was met by a lot of upperclassmen, whether it's physical or mental discipline. And they really showed me humility. But more importantly, they showed me mutual respect. So there are, a few lines that I learned when I was in my fraternity. It's team, together, everyone achieves more. Yep, together, everyone achieves more. You want to go fast, go alone, go far, go together. And then prior planning prevents his poor performance. So I was the type of person that potentially may or may not put in enough effort prior to doing something. Today, I probably over prepare just because I value every opportunity, every moment, like it's a priceless moment and it's our one and only chance. So yeah, being in a fraternity, going to college, it taught me a lot of maturity, adulting, and I was able to find a family away from home is what I would say my experience was.
Yeah, I think just being surrounded by that, having that push from the older brothers in general, so helpful.
Yeah.
I know I've definitely grown a lot through my sisterhood, but let's shift a little to what would you say is the biggest talent experience? And what did you learn from that? Or how did you overcome it?
I've been through more challenges than I think most people have ever experienced in their life. Being called a failure by my parents, being called a failure by my peers, manifesting all the failing moments I had. I could share with you, I think I recently said this on a social media content. I said, the 2 most powerful emotions you can have is love and fear. People ask me what motivates me more. It's actually fear. Love gives you sustainable energy. Fear gives you adrenaline. I think one of the moments I recalled in my career that really changed me was I was so bad at what I was doing, not because I'm not talented, is because I'm an only child. I'm an introvert. Growing up, I had more friends than real friends. And my parents always taught me to study hard, do well in school, but they never taught me any social skills. So when I meet someone that's Asian, a minority that has social skills, that's impressive because my parents just taught me how to read multiple languages. I remember when I was struggling in my world is because I lacked the ability to communicate with people, but I worked really hard to overcome that. There was one time, I think in my first year of my career, I was at a bus stop waiting for a bus. And I was put on probation to be fired by my mentor, my supervisor. And then at the bus stop, there was a garbage can. One of those see-through garbage can with those like wires you could probably see. And it was a half-eaten sandwich. And I looked at that sandwich, which felt like hours, probably was like for a good like couple minutes. And I manifested me eating that half-eaten sandwich from a garbage can. I said to myself, if this is the hardest struggle, which was my career at that time, not figuring out how to be successful in finance, how many more times in my life will I fail? And how many sandwiches would I eat out of a garbage can? And if I eat that sandwich from the garbage can, my wife will be eating it too. So will my unborn kids eat. And then once that moment came, that fear overcame the fear of me being crappy at my profession. And then I've manifested and I erupted a new, more unleashed, powerful version. So that was one moment, my lowest point in my career. Another moment, my career, my wife was going to divorce me because I couldn't find work-life balance. Then I later on figured out work-life integration, but more importantly, I realized working hard is rookie level number. Working hard and working smart is the real opportunity. But some of the most successful people in the world, once they get to a certain point, only relying on working hard won't get you there. So it forced me to evolve. And it was one of the best things when my wife threatened to divorce me because I couldn't find time in my life for her. I was able to evolve to a much smarter, wiser version. And today, I work half as hard as I used to 10 years ago while being 10 times more effective. And then what are some other moments, struggle? I think there's too many to really count, but sometimes I struggle. Is this enough? If tomorrow is my last day, have I made a significant impact to the world like I want to? And I don't think the answer is yes. But I think whatever challenges I've been through in my lifetime, I'm fortunate enough to say overcame majority, if not all. But I do believe I will have even more difficult challenges in my future. And all I'm doing every single day is leveling up who I am, 1% better than who I was yesterday. So that when these challenges arrive in my life, I will overcome them all.
And thank you for sharing the things that you've been through. I feel like it's almost better when entrepreneurs go through those kind of struggles. So this seems like once you're able to go through those struggles, you build that resilience and you just level up even more.
Absolutely.
Or you have to have that sort of breakdown to have that breakthrough.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure all of it has like shaped who you are today. And I believe you shifted from managing director to becoming the business owner and founder.
To private wealth. Yeah, founder and CEO of my firm. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So how did you find that shift?
I was forced into a shift because when I was a managing director, my vision was to build a region, recruit, train, develop other advisors like me, and really create a profound impact to the Asian community. When I decided to shift and pivot my career, it was more or less, I used to have a very naive thought. I used to say I want to help everyone in the world, which is impossible. Most people, when they start on their career or any profession, I want to help everyone. Absolutely not. Because when you try to help everyone, you're really limiting the people that truly deserve your help. Because some people you try to help, they may or may not want your help. So therefore, when I pivoted and I built my own firm, I was able to not live in the vision of others. I was able to create my own vision. I had a lot more autonomy control. And objectively, I built a firm today that I'm truly proud of, where I know what I do in my career, legacy-wise, is going to revolutionize and change the world forever. The way we think, the way we help people truly is remarkable, where I fully have control of our process and our philosophy when it comes to serving others.
Have you ever defined like a big, hairy, audacious goal for yourself?
My big, hairy, audacious goal is to transform the financial service industry. So I'm going to be speaking in June for another conference called Ugly Talks. Ugly Talks.
Ugly Talks.
Yep. So what the conference title, which really interested me, was talk about the ugly side of your profession. So let's talk about the ugly side of our profession. People in finance, whether it's Wolf of Wall Street, Gordon Gekko, Coffee is for Closer, you name the movies. When I joined the finance industry 18 years ago, it was a very dark place. In fact, my parents were not proud of me being in finance because they felt people in finance were not trustworthy. So my career and passion is to completely change that landscape. See, people in finance, the financial industry is not a bad industry. It's, in my opinion, it's a essential industry, right? Just like physicians are essentials, many professions, people in finance are essential because if you don't understand financial literacy, how to manage your money, the difference between like setting goals and short-term, mid-term, long-term, you can't execute it, you have financial ruins. Most of your goals will never be attainable. But it's not the industry is a bad industry, is many of the people in the industry are poorly trained. It's kind of like the chicken or the egg. If a tree doesn't blossom and grow, do you blame the tree or do you blame the sun, the water, the soil, the environment? It's the environment. So my career passion, my lifetime mission is to revolutionize the financial service industry, to make it the most noble career, to make it to a point where people come out of school, they want to get into finance and be a money manager, or they meet people that are financially literate and they trust them. And not for self-serving reasons, but selfless reasons. I can tell you in 18 years, I've had over 20,000 clients. I've helped thousands of families either buy their first home, retire, save for their kids' education, live life abundantly, telling them that they can afford to take that extra trip. Oh, it's your 50th birthday? Go spend more. Spend more than society tells you because you're only going to turn 51. I want to help transform the mindset of people and how they manage and look at money. Because money is simply a tool, right? It's a tool. It shouldn't be controlling us. It's either we have control or it has control. So my big, hairy, audacious goal is in my lifetime, people are not going to say doctor, lawyer, engineer. People are going to say, be whatever you want to be, but if you can be any profession, be a financial guru expert, and it helps serve your community, right? Because my whole family, friends, and people amongst my community, everyone works hard, right? Because they try to achieve their version of success. But as they're achieving their version of success, I ask them, do you understand your tax return? Do you know how much extra taxes you're paying that you need to pay? No, people don't understand the rules of the game. And that's a shame. When people build wealth, there's a saying, most wealth do not go past 3 generations, as I say all the time. Do you know how to help create generational wealth? Most people don't. So why are you working so hard so that in your lifetime, when you pass on, the government or other external factors take away half or if not even more of the hard work wealth you built? And that's unacceptable. So my vision is in my lifetime, I will teach this to everyone I can possibly teach. I will recreate this industry, recreate training, and shift the mindset where what we do is empowerment and education and will help people for generational impact. So that's my BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal.
All right, I love it. You got me inspired. I want to get more to finance.
Thank you.
But yeah, that makes me think it relates back to the scarcity, right? Like when we think money is evil, right? You don't want to think about it as money, yet we all deal with it. I feel like that goes back to our tendency to have that scarcity mindset.
Money is not evil. People that don't understand money, don't recognize it as a tool and don't use it for the right reason can be evil. If you use money and use it for greed, yes, it can be evil. But if you use money and give it to your local church, your nonprofit, helping others, hiring good people that are unemployed, it's not evil at all. It depends on how you use this tool. Do you use it for good or bad? And I choose to use it for, good, to see the light. And the only reason why I say that is because money has been a very dark place, at least in my upbringing. Why? Because my parents were working 7 days a week, chasing money, working hard for money, where they did not have the ability to spend time with me. So now I'm going to say, hey, don't do that. Money is going to always be there, but your time with your family, your children is not. And I want to tell people, there's a saying, where the richest place in the world is?
Cemetery?
That's right, cemeteries. Because people never get to live their dream. People build, they never enjoy it, and they die, and they can never take it. I'm trying to help people and say, hey, retire early. Go on more vacations. You want to, spend on that nice pair of shoes, spend on XYZ, do it. Only if it's responsibly done. And that's empowerment. That's how I believe financial literacy should be taught.
Right. But it's hard to feel confident to do that when they don't know their finances well. They're not budgeting and know that they can't afford this.
For sure. That's why you need to always work with someone that's credible, experienced, and an expert, right? Like if I try to self-diagnose me on WebMD of my health conditions, I'm not going to be confident because I remember during COVID, I had symptoms. I went on WebMD. I was like, is this COVID? Is this COVID? No. Good news. It was cancer. Right? Like I'm joking, but on WebMD, almost every symptom is like cancer. Right? But you shouldn't be self-diagnosing yourself. If I go see a physician, I go to see, a healthcare professional. That's how I have confidence. But I don't know. Society tells people they could do it themselves. People do it themselves without experience, training, and license is because they don't trust anyone else. But why should we live in a life where it lacks trust? That's a very scarcity mentality, right? But we live in an environment where there's abundance, where people shouldn't be out for themselves. They should be out giving and helping others. We can live in that place. So that's why I'm trying to recreate our industry to a place where it's not product driven. Most people, most banks, most institutions are product driven. It should be education and empowerment driven. The best analogy I can give you is, I remember when I got into finance, I realized most people are selling a product, but that doesn't empower you. So let's say you don't know how to retire. They recommend you XYZ product. You still don't know how it works, but what if I can go to the root cause of what you need? How to understand retirement, help you understand what retirement means to you, how to get there on your terms, at your speed, but also being flexible, right? So therefore, once you understand the tools, the philosophies, and you're able to recreate it, customize, adapting to you, you can live your best fulfilled life.
You talk about money with your kids, your family.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite lesson?
Daddy works hard, and things you have, if you want to also grow up and have it and keep it, you need to work hard too. So I talk about the $3. I give them $3. $1 is for them to spend. $1 is for them to save and invest. And $1 is for them to give. One of the proudest moments I remember was when I brought my kids to church for the first time. My father, during Trinity year, gave my kids $100 each in a red envelope. And then when I gave them the $100, I said, son, what are you going to buy with it? My son said, Dad, I'm going to go to church next week and I want to give it to God. And I said, why? It's because I want to give back to the church because I know they do good for the community. And that was one of the proudest moments as early parent. Because I wish people thought about giving first instead of for themselves first. And I was never caught that. When I was growing up, my parents were like this instead of like this. So I'm proud of where my kids are. I think they recognize the importance of hard work. I also believe that they understand that money is a tool. If I ask them, do they rather have money or do they rather spend more time with daddy and mommy? Parents. If I ask them, should they rather have money or they want to go on vacation? Go on vacation. Memories. There's so many more things, in my humble opinion, that's more important than money. Now, people might say, well, you can only say that if and only if you have money. But we can all have money, right? It just depends on what's your factor of money, right? Because if you don't know how to earn money, then you need to learn more skills. You need to be more talented. You need to level up yourself. In today's modern society, in my opinion, there's so many ways. A great example. Did you know that in the next 5 years, statistically, a large percentage of baby boomer, their generation of business owners, they don't have a succession plan. You and I can find many businesses in the next 5 to 10 years that they're going to retire and sell their profitable business. And all you have to do is simply go find those businesses and offer them seller's finance, where the seller puts 10% down and you go to the bank and borrow 90% on an SBA loan and you can buy that business. But now you have to learn how to be an operator. And then you could take a profitable business and grow it to be even more profitable. Think about it. You're at a Tesla. Elon Musk did not find Tesla. Elon Musk bought Tesla and it took it to the next level. Many businesses actually were purchased by, not the founder, was purchased by someone else other than the founder, but saw more potential and built it to becoming the current growth today.
Right. I just showed the founder to my finance kid.
Ray Kroc.
That's exactly
Ray, he didn't find McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
He found McDonald's and he invested in it, and now it became one of the most well-known fast food chains in the world.
Yeah. No, that's been on my mind a lot. So like buy a business rather than to start a business, because you're buying into the existing system rather than building your own system. And what would you say is your favorite system that you built for as a business owner or as a
Minimax. I call this Minimax. Minimize your maximum exposure to risk. So it's a philosophy because most minorities that I've met, or myself and my family included, have always had a scarcity mindset and a fear of taking risks. Like debt is bad. But once you understand Minimax, which is minimizing your maximum exposure to risk, or let's just say a simple analogy, if I go to the casino and I don't know how to gamble and I put $1 on a blackjack hand, what's my maximum exposure to losing money? $1. So then I can say, hey, I can expose my risk to that dollar. So for me today as an adult, I love risk, but I minimax my risk because I know what is a acceptable amount of risk and what's not. Because once you understand your chips, once you understand your cash flow, your balance sheet, your profit and loss, your assets and liabilities, then you should be able to calculate what percentage of your assets can take risk. And when you have that percentage, you take that risk, then your rate of return can be significantly higher than normal ways of investors. And that's why I call safe dollars, risky dollars, home run dollars. So that's a philosophy I practice on my own personal finances, which has allowed me to do well in many business development in my life.
Love that.
Do you desire for your kids to be business owners?
I desire them to be whatever they want to be. As cliche as it sounds, I think why should we raise our kids to be versions that we want them to be when most parents, if you ask them when they're much older, they just want their kids to be happy. Because I work with so many different families, business owners, generational wealth, I see so many people that try to control their kids' upbringing, that their kids become a version that they're not proud of, or their kids become a version that the kids are not happy. And as a parent, is that truly what I want? I think being a business owner truly is one of the hardest things to be. It's terrifying. Terrifying. If you were to ask me, do I want my kids to be a business owner? Honestly, no. I don't want them to experience some of the darkest times that I've risked, doubt, fear, loneliness. And when they succeed, now they're thinking about what's next, growth, expansion, hiring people, taking care of others. Unfortunately, sometimes feels like it's never ending. Sometimes just being an employee, W-2, it's easy because you just follow the rules. But if my kids want to be a business owner, I would do everything in my God-given talent and ability to prepare them for that world. If they don't want to be, that's absolutely okay. I just want them to raise them to be happy, healthy, and a contributor to society.
I love how supportive you are and understanding you are and open-minded. Yeah, it's tough. It's like, you know, all these struggles as a business owner, but it's like, we just have to do it. Like we feel that, you know, what is achieving that BHAG or something, you know, that we want to help in the world. It's like, we just have to. Yeah.
That's right. And being a business owner, people oftentimes, whether they're an employee, looking at the employer and saying, hey, I'm working harder than you, or vice versa. Just so you know, at least in my experience, employees work, let's say 9 to 5, employers work from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m., right? You're giving up. And that's why statistically, I think the number says that only 10% of businesses make it to their 5th year, or possibly even lower statistic. It's true because there's so many external factors. I think people, when they try to open up a business, they do it based on passion alone. That's never enough. It's passion, purpose, profit, knowing your numbers, relationship connections, growth, expansion, continuous improvement in your industry, right? What got you here won't get you there. In fact, I believe most industries are evolving. What got you here will stop you from getting to the future. And if you're not growing fast enough, adapting, your business can help change the world in a good way. Your business hurt a lot of people. For example, as a business owner, I have 16 people on payroll. Amongst those 16 people, I think about the 50 family members, their spouses, their children, their relatives that also rely on them financially, because most of the people on my team, they're the breadwinners of the household. If my business fails, guess what happens? They fail, their family struggles. And then we work with 1,000 families. If my business fails, the 1,000 families I made a promise to, I don't fulfill that promise, it will haunt me for the rest of my life. So therefore, why? Why live a life with that type of responsibility and burden? Only if you're ready for it. I truly believe the people that are going to be business owners, that want to be business owners, it's all in or nothing. I see when I talk to a business owner, the half foot in, half foot out. You will not succeed. In fact, you have to have pride in running your own business. And that's what I do. I built our business. Everything I do, you better have pride. And if you're not going to give it 110%, why even try? Because there's a saying, in life, you could be average, above average, or below average. Everyone wants to be above average, but if you do the same thing as everyone else, you're just average. And a lot of people that are average, they want to be elite, but they want to be elite. If you look at their actions, it lacks the ability to fulfill what it takes to be elite. And that to me it's reckless, irresponsible, and quite frankly, unacceptable. People that said, hey, I'm going to be the best of the best, show me that you work like the best of the best. And that's why so many businesses fail, because people have a dream, but they don't understand the sacrifices to fulfill that dream.
What would you say is the hardest sacrifice you've ever had to make? Did that lead to just as big of a reward?
It's the hardest sacrifice I've ever made.
Sorry, this is unplanned.
No, that's a great question. I actually don't think, I'm sure from the outside looking in, I'd sacrifice a lot, but to me, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. I think if I were to look back at my life, we all can live in the present, the past, or the future. The people that live the best life are the people that live in the present. Whether it's good or bad, I live in the future. And sometimes, especially running multiple companies, having so many people that rely on me, and my decision impacts so many, because I live in the future, sometimes I can't remember the present. One of my biggest fears is losing my memory. So I don't know if this is the biggest sacrifice I've made, but I hope everything I do in this world is for the greater good of others and impacting, helping people. And that actually brings me a lot of joy and fulfillment. But I do hope that sometimes that remember these important, incredible moments. Like, we've had some incredible milestones in my career where people are like, do you remember that year when you were on stage and you said that at this event? And I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't remember. And they're like, well, you were there, you inspired me. And I said, I'm so glad you were inspired. But because I'm moving so fast and I have so much that I have to do and give, I can't remember every single moment. And I think people that are like high, intense movers and shakers, they sometimes live in that type of life. And then people ask me, why don't you slow down? I said, it's easier said than done. But I'm going at a pace where I feel absolutely comfortable. And I know that I'm finding fulfillment, knowing that what I do is making a big impact and difference. Like, if I showed you my travel schedule, how many countries I've traveled to just the last 12 months, you'd be like, when do you even have time for X, Y, and Z? And I said, you're right. I don't even manage my own schedule. My assistant does. And they're like, tell me about this event you went to. I can't remember it. But I do know that when I go there, in that moment, I give it my absolute best. After that moment ends, I have to move on to my next mission.
Honestly, I feel like you are still living in the present. Or like I heard the saying, it's best to focus on the future, but live in the present.
Yeah.
Right. So I definitely see that, right? Like, you're being very present now, like you have your fun or anything. And I feel like by focusing on the future, that's just like sort of natural for business owners. Like, so much more to achieve, more people that we want to help.
Yep.
So I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. I think you're doing a great job too.
What you say is your current biggest challenge, and what have you tried to combat that?
My current biggest challenge?
Personally or professionally?
My current biggest challenge, and if I think about it through my career, is scaling and growing. I think for most business owners, once you get to a certain point in your business, it's about expansion, growth, and creating a larger impact. So in the last 12 months, I doubled my team size. I doubled my payroll, and I doubled my risk. And oftentimes for many people, it's such an enormous amount of pressure that it will drive them to their knees and collapse them. Not to go into details, but there are months, especially in my world in finance, where we lose 6 figures easily because of the market, everything. But as the employer, I have to make payroll. But how am I going to go? Because in the last 5 years, we 10x in 5 years. My next question, now that we got to another point, how can I 10x again in the next 3 years? But if you were to ask me, everything I'm doing in my career right now is not even my ultimate vision. I said this at other social media channels. My ultimate vision is to run for politics.
Is what?
Run for politics.
Oh.
I want to change. Growing up, I felt, maybe as a young child, I did not know any better. I felt the country was much safer and politicians were serving the people. Today, it feels the other way around, as if some of our constituents, politicians, are not serving on our best, and that's unacceptable. So as soon as I complete all the milestone tasks I've already manifested and committed to in my lifetime, my next phase in my life is to go into politics and create an additional greater impact in a different way.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And then I think there's going to be even more sacrifice in my life, because who wants to be a politician, in my humble opinion? Very few, any, not saying their compensation is good or bad, but you're hated by like half the people. Whatever side you choose, the other side is going to hate you. No one wants to be hated, but sometimes it's required to do the right thing where you don't people please everyone, right? So I think it's a challenge that I'm ready for, but I don't know if my family and some of my teammates and my companies and my clients are ready yet. But once I build the infrastructure, the systems, the foundation, where right now, for many business owners, when they start a business, they're in the business. That's not really me anymore. But later on, as you get better, you're focusing on the business. And then when you get to the final stage, you can create and build a company outside of the business. I think I'm more of the on and outside of the business, but once I build it where the systems are strong, foundations can move, whether I'm here or not, that's when I'm going to accept an even greater and more difficult challenge.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
I would vote for you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, my big Vic, she was in politics for a bit, so
Oh, great.
she'd be a good person to speak with.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. Scaling, growing, really achieving what you believe is the greatest potential that you achieve. So what has been the biggest rewards you experienced as a business owner or global speaker?
The amount of people we've helped, the amount of people we've really helped. I guess doing this for 18 years now. Some of the families, when their children were born, we helped them with setting up a plan for education for kids. Today, their kids are going to college, finally using the assets that we built for. That's incredibly rewarding. Some of the families, we've helped people buy their first home, buy multiple homes. I've helped many people with public loan forgiveness that they were not aware. In fact, a few years ago, we had a principal at a school. She has 6 figures of student debt. She was making payments at the rate she was paying. She would never pay it off. She did not know that she was eligible for public loan forgiveness. And within 3 years, we got 6 figures of her debt forgiven. And you would not believe the emotional relief and joy she had and how she expressed it to our team. And that is, in my opinion, the greatest joy. Helping people retire, buy their home, seeing some of our clients get married, having children. I could go on and on, because as they fulfill and achieve their goals, I live in the moment as if it's me, it's my goal. Because I truly believe being the greatest fiduciary or partner to the people you work with, you have to live as if you're them, so that you can only give them the best advice in their best interest. And when they accomplish their goals, it truly is so incredibly rewarding. And in fact, my kids see it. I see me on social media. My kids see me at company conferences like, Daddy, you're going up there helping people. And that's amazing, because 18 years ago, my parents didn't want me to go in finance because they thought this industry was a useless industry. It was an industry that Asian people didn't care about financial products, don't need financial literacy. It's a scam. Financial companies not to be trusted. But now today, my parents think massively different. I've spoke at many different conventions and conferences where my parents are in the audience, and they're so proud because I was able to change their mindset, change their belief, help them see a bigger, better light. And then now, as I have children of my own, I'm able to teach my kids what's greater and more important is finding impact in what you do.
Well, I love the story that you shared about your son choosing to give first to church. Was your parents religious too?
No. Growing up, my parents are Buddhists. Now you're like, well, Rick, why do you go to a Christian church? It's because I want to learn from every religion. I now that I'm at a certain age, I just want to learn from everyone. I don't care what race, what gender, what ethnic background, sexual, none of that matters. I just see us as corny cheeses. We're all one human race. And in this lifetime, I want to learn and sponge as much as I can. So a few years ago, my wife and I said, hey, I actually wanted to approach her and say, I want to start going to church. And she said, why? And I said, when I was young, naive, and arrogant, I used to think my life is within my own grasp. I can control it, and I can manipulate and fulfill whatever I want to achieve. But humbly speaking, it's not true. I truly believe all the challenges in my lifetime was predetermined for me to help me become the version I am. And all the success I've had are blessings, not completed by myself, but there has to be a higher being that I am grateful for, that grants me this type of special power, which is why I believe every one of us, we should find our superpower. and whatever my superpower may be, I want to help others find theirs. So I'm grateful. I'm extremely grateful. Finding gratitude, whether it's Buddhism, like my parents, whether it's Christianity, Catholic, every religion. I love to learn. And one of the things that I want to do if and when I fulfill all the promises I made is when I retire, I want to travel the world. I don't know how many countries there are. There are like 200 plus countries in this world. I want to visit every country. And I want to learn every ethnic background, religion, language, food, culture. Oh, that's just thinking about it is so incredibly amazing. Can I do it now? I have the resources to do it now. But as Kobe Bryant said, the job's not done. So I'm not going to do it now because that's too selfish. So yeah. So am I a religious person? I guess so, guess not. But I want to teach my kids at a young, early age to be grateful and to believe in a higher being. Because as much as I want everyone to believe in themselves, because that's extremely, incredibly important, I do want people to believe that you're blessed with everything you have because it was bestowed upon you for good things, good reasons. What is challenges? I look at challenges as lessons to shape, prepare us for our future. I look at blessings as rewards and recognition, but as a moment to find humility and not think that you're better than anyone. So whether it's challenges or rewards, I look at them all with appreciation.
Well, I think we're very alike. Yeah, as an educator, I'm always seeking to learn. And my family was also Buddhist, like slightly. So I'm exploring that realm of spirituality. But through like my journey of learning about entrepreneurship, it just seems like God has played such a huge role in all these entrepreneurs' lives. I'm like, what is this magic? So I'm definitely all just about learning. I'm not necessarily dedicated to one specific religion.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot to learn from these, higher beings and teachers that came before us.
That's right.
So, and I learned from my former therapist, he said that those who are more religious or spiritual, they experience less mental health issues.
Really?
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. You should ask your therapist.
No, I know.
Oh.
I look it up and I talk with her about it. But why do you think that? If you agree or not?
Because there's hope. I think mental health is unfortunately something that's extremely real. And to me, wish for peace in everyone's lives. But I think people that struggle, for whatever reasons they have struggles, I think as long as there's hope in their life, whether it's a higher being for them to believe in, it can give them that light to follow and live and see the glass not half empty, but half full or fully full, because there's so much things to be grateful for. Yeah. So I don't know if that's the right answer.
That's definitely part of it.
Okay.
I don't think there's one right answer.
Okay.
I think it's definitely the hope and also having community.
Yeah.
I find that when you're in, especially with the specific religion, there's always community to lean on.
Yep.
Or to even like help release things.
Yep.
Yeah. I love that, you're building that within your family and your children.
That's right. I remember speaking to a Stanford doctor, and he said, what do you think are some of the 5 most essential things people need, humans need? I think someone said sunlight, someone said food, someone said water. Actually, I think community was the number one. I think community is so important. And that's why I hope people recognize that who we are surrounded by makes such a big difference. Such a big difference. And sometimes people are blinded. The community that they are within, they have to stay in that potentially negative environment. You don't have to. So hopefully, but if people start realizing who they surround themselves with makes such a profound impact, and they be selective on their community and the people they surround themselves, it can change their life.
And that goes back to providing that education and empowerment.
Yeah.
Like many people don't know that they're just kind of like stuck in that world.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, since we're sort of on the topic of mental wellness, how do you self-care with such a busy schedule, traveling all over the world, doing all the speaking? How do you make time self-care?
Be extremely obsessive and disciplined and protective of my schedule. When I was younger, like many, I was a people pleaser, being a lone child. I wanted everyone to like me, my parents to love me. Today as an adult, I'm probably the opposite. I want people to like me, but I always tell people I am not nice. I'm honest and kind. I'm very protective of my schedule. I used to say more yes than no. Today I say more no's than yes. Because when I keep saying yes to others, I'm saying no to myself. So every morning, my schedule, I'm extremely disciplined. I go to bed around the same time. as long as schedule permits, because sometimes time zone traveling the world, my time zone sleep schedule sometimes so screwed up. And then sometimes, I get it. People are getting married. I have late night events. So I try to make it an attempt to be there for people I care about. But if I have a choice, I try to go to bed by 9, 10 p.m. and wake up around 4 or 5. And at 5 o'clock, it's investing in me time. I take a 5 a.m. 5K walk with my wife. By 6 a.m., I would like to do a hardcore, intense 1 hour workout, whether it's cardio, weightlifting, body, push-up, push-pull, whatever it is, I invest in myself. Then I eat a very nutritional diet breakfast, and then nice cup of coffee. I'm fulfilled. That's kind of like the best moment. And by 8 o'clock, I go out there and capture and seize the day.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen your videos. You sweating really
Yeah,
early.
I tell people, if you're not sweating when you're working out, are you truly working out? Yeah. What's the point? I'm kidding. You're supposed to transform.
Yeah. But then my brother has like used that back on me. He's like, I sweat when I play my games.
Really?
Because games, and I'm like, it's not the same.
Yeah. His mind is transforming.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my brother's younger, and there's a lot of our younger members of immigrant families love to watch this. So what's one piece of advice that you have for the younger generation who is maybe just entering the workforce or they're trying to start a business?
Dream big. Dream so big where you get to a point where it's so scary that you're shaking, and dream even bigger. I think being a parent of 3 young kids, when we're young and we're kids, we like to have fun and have a creative minds. As we get older and older, society teaches us to be realistic, right? And we stop dreaming. I think if I could go back to a younger version, be anyone or anything you want to be. Dream big. But also, I would tell people that for every action and inaction, there's a result and consequence. I think too many of us don't understand what we do on a daily basis impacts us, whether short-term or long-term. Like, for example, I used to grow up, lack of knowledge and education. I would eat anything and everything. But today, maybe it's because fortunately I have a community like my wife. She reads ingredients. There are a lot of food I used to love eating, I can't eat anymore because I know I'm putting poison in my body. I put poison in my, and I can't, right? Did you know one of the best things about building wealth, financials, is time. It's time. So what I'll tell you is, let's say you build massive wealth to the age of today, this year I'm 40, but you don't live long, that stops. But what if you eat better, you exercise, you focus on your mental health, you enjoy life, but then because you release stress, you will live more years, your wealth will compound over time because time works for you, not against. Some of the wealthiest people in the world, if they're unhealthy, they will exchange all their wealth for time. So what I tell people is, when I look at food and I look at people that don't act, and exercising is a way of, health, diet, they're poisoning themselves. They're losing time. They're killing their time. And I wish I could tell young people to say, hey, treat your body like a temple. Because I did not when I was younger because I didn't know better. But the last 10 years, I've been just so intense focused that I love my schedule, working out, eating healthy, reading, being protective of my time. But I think a last quote I would share with young people is, the road to hell often feels like heaven. The road to hell often feels like hell. Understand the sacrifice you make. And it's very important for us to believe in ourselves. And sometimes the challenges we experience are meant for greatness.
Yeah. It's hard to digest, but it is what it is, right? Like, we have to sort of endure the hell now to keep that vision in mind that the heaven will come.
That's right.
But you mentioned food, because I know definitely in Asian families, like, food is our love language.
Yeah.
Right. And I know my family doesn't eat the healthiest, and it kind of hard for my brother. He still lives at home because that's just, how he's going to eat. So, the elders will cook. So if that's not something that you continue from your culture, like, what's another practice of love or wellness from your family or your culture that you have kept? Let's say taking the practice of eating great food and using food as a love language. Is there any sort of other practice or principle that you've carried on from your family or your culture that embodies still love and wellness in your eyes?
I love food. And although food is one of the love languages, I am so obsessive with changing the way people look at food. So when I go to my parents' home in Brooklyn, they used to have corn oil, which to my opinion, it's putting poison in your body. Literally, I changed it all to olive oil, avocado oil. And my dad and my mom was like, why? And I said, this is healthy for you.
Yeah.
When I look at some of the things, like back then, I would love Doritos. If I hate you, I'll give you a bag of chips, right? Like, I kid you not. Read the ingredients. If you can pronounce it, don't put it in your body. And that's why I used to love going out to eat. Today, I'm a little fearful because so many restaurants out there, for profit, they sacrifice quality ingredients. But my love language is, I love traveling, but spending quality time. I think for Asians, minorities, because they fail to spend quality time with people, you know what their love language is? Money. My parents, whenever they see their grandchildren, they always give them money. But then I said, Dad, Mom, they don't need money. They need you to teach them how to grow up and be a good human being like grandpa and grandma. And then like, no, I'm busy, I have work. Unacceptable. They're stingy with time, but generous with money. And that's, to me, it's disgusting. So I think for me, when I spend time with someone, it's truly my version of love language.
Okay. I love that. I love good quality time. You mentioned you're a foodie. You could eat one thing for the rest of your life. What would that be?
Ooh, that's a tough. The old me would have said steak. Probably like a lot of typical guys. But the smarter, wiser, older version of me is, although I love food, it's less of where or what I eat, but who I'm eating it with. It's really the company. It's really the company I care most about. But truthfully, I used to hate this type of food. Just to me, growing up, fish was the least likely food I'd ever eat. Today, my favorite food is sushi. Sushi. Japanese food. I like Chinese food, being Chinese. I hate going to a Chinese restaurant. I say this not to hate on Chinese restaurants, is because most Chinese restaurants, it's very difficult to find healthy food. Japanese restaurants, most of the food that I find on the Japanese menu is healthy. My protein of choice used to be red meat. Talking to all my medical friends, now today is protein of choice is fish. So I love sushi. I think it's really because of my wife influenced me. Her favorite food is sushi. I hated sushi, but over time, you know, it's kind of balanced each other out. And today, that's my favorite type of food.
Have you been to Japan?
I have, yeah. Before we had kids, but now that we have kids, it's a lot harder. But yes, it's probably one of my favorite countries I visited in the past.
Well, if you could live anywhere in the world, one city that's not your current home, where would that be?
Same thing I said earlier. I don't really care where I live. It's who I live there with. So I would default and say Hawaii, because that's where my wife wants to live. She's never been to Hawaii, but one thing that she can't stand is the cold. And as I've gotten older, the cold has bothered me a lot more than when I was younger. So one thing I would recommend people do, which I started doing the last 2 years, because I like to challenge myself, is take cold showers. If you can't stand the cold showers help. I promise. So I've been taking 2 straight years of cold showers, and I can stand the cold, but my wife still can't stand the cold. But I always ask her, where would she like to retire and live? She said Hawaii. So I've never been there. I can't swim. So what am I going to do on an island? But yeah, doesn't matter where I live. It's who I live with.
Okay. Well, that makes sense because I think a lot of Japanese people immigrated over to Hawaii, and so there's a lot of great food there and great poke.
Yeah, I like Spam. I love Spam.
You love it,
but
it's not healthy
after I met my wife, I can't look and eat Spam.
at all.
So yeah, I can't. Like ramen, I love ramen.
Yeah.
Today, I look at it, automatically I feel nauseous. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a sign that says, hey, you have to live a longer life because there's a lot more things you need to do. So there's a lot of things I used to love eating. I can't eat
But you talking about instant ramen or ramen?
instant ramen.
Okay.
And even like regular ramen, I try to stay away from a lot of carbs because of sugar intake and just health reasons. So I used to hate vegetable. I hate fruits. I hate fish. Today, those are my top 3 items.
Yeah. No, it's important. Healthy.
Yeah.
I love that you're choosing healthy.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? Like sometimes when we grow up, the things we used to hate, we can easily put time and effort to make it things that we love. So that's why, like I said, challenge yourself because some of the things you used to hate in life can be, sooner or later the things you love most.
Yeah. But like in your example and in general, like you had a reason, right? One is your wife and one is for health. I feel like as long as you had the right reason, anything is possible.
That's right.
And I love that, both of your answers, it's always about who you're with.
Yep.
Right? Just like that Harvard
Community.
study.
community and just like meaningful relationships, right? In general, is so important to our mental health. Happier lives. Like I want to be able to help create more of that, right? Opportunity for that.
Because there's 8 billion people in this world. It's a shitty feeling to be surrounded by people you don't like. So I often say this, if you're not a person I like to be around, I don't have to be around you, nor you have to be around me. Because whether it's by passing, by faith, chance, or whatever reason it may be, if you're in an environment that doesn't make you feel good, change your environment. But when you're in an environment that is, there's chemistry, there's magic, there's, amazing transformation happening, those are moments that are meant to be. That's why community and who you're surrounded with is so powerful.
Yeah. And that's, why I've been called to build Suamora. But yeah, do you have a question for me or Suamora and how maybe our community can help you?
Tell me more about Suamora. What are your vision and what is your mission and purpose? And if you could have a genie wish and Suamora can be anything in the future, what would that look like? And what would it be?
Oh boy, question. My vision is Suamora is a different type of schooling. As an educator, I've been in the system for 9 years now. And especially even telling people that I'm a finance teacher, almost everyone is like, oh, I wish I had that in high school. Right. So I love the education. And yeah, I would just envision it to be a community where we love learning together. Right. It's sort of past the traditional learning kind, but it's families literally coming together to learn about stuff that they want to. I find that free education is hard because like you get it for free. So they don't really like appreciate it. But then it's like, oh, do we really have to get to college to pay for this expensive college to learn things that maybe help, that maybe use it, most likely don't. So, all the things that I feel like are human skills and like soft skills, I would love like programming like yearly for that, as well as having more like fun events. I would love to have like an annual like adult or family, because immigrant families, I feel like don't often get to experience that growing up. I was very fortunate to get to travel and to get to learn sports, but I know a lot of my friends do not know how to swim. They're only just starting to play tennis.
I don't know swim. Yes.
Exactly.
You know how to play tennis?
Yeah.
I just started learning how to play tennis. Yeah. And my tennis coach for my wife and I would say I'm terrible, but yeah.
Right. So just to be able to give more opportunities, right, for families, that worked really hard to get here and they don't know of this great stuff because they're prioritizing work in life. So yeah, I would love to have just a more balanced, lifestyle where we can work really hard and make money and, maybe build more, happier professionals or entrepreneurs while just having a lot of fun together and, a lot of different cultures coming together as well. And yeah, my mission is to bridge the gap between cultures and generations so that we can live happier, healthier lives while being excited to grow and learn together. And my main purpose is really my mom and brother my mom passed, but after having gone through that and, being able to come out of that stronger, but, see my brother come out of that stronger has been really motivational, and how we have improved our relationships. So I know there's a lot of other siblings and families that don't get along still. And yeah, I think it's possible, right? Because I have experiences. Yeah. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Not think it's possible. It is possible.
Yeah.
And you'll make it possible. Yeah. Just hearing your answer and seeing your emotions come to life, that's true passion. It's within you. It's inside you. And don't ever give up. Follow that calling and purpose in life and make it a reality and share that with the community. That's why you keep talking about community. You want to build a community where you can support one another. And I know you're going to make it work, but that road will not be easy. It will not be easy. And hopefully all the people that are watching this, hearing your story and supporting what you're doing, getting to build a community, people within the community should support your vision. So hopefully as time goes on, I look forward to seeing the incredible, tremendous success Suamora will provide all.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I know it is possible. I know it is needed. And through going our events, we've done 6 months of events now, 6 months straight. And this year, we see back, people telling me that they want more. So yeah, speak your and feel your support it is inspirational and motivational for this already difficult journey.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there what? Yeah, for our audience, how can they find you or work with you?
I get that question all the time. It's never self-serving. I want them to find you and work with you. But if anyone's interested to stay connected, build a community, and just hear more positivity, inspiring stories, I started an Instagram, a small page a few years back. Instagram handle is I am Rick Q. And we can, stay connected there and message if there's anything we can inspire others, or I read as many comments, DMs as possible. So, and I get creativity from our audience on how to come up with even more inspiring lessons, stories, or advice and feedback. So if I can help the community, I think social media, I am Rick Hugh, is the best way.
Okay, awesome. You can leave our audience with one last quote.
One more favorite quote to motivate us, keep us going through these hard times,
And to build stronger and wealthier and happier families, what would you close with?
Then selfishly, this time, would have to be my quote. And I came up with this quote during the darkest times and COVID. It's really relevant to finance. Your self-worth is not your net worth. Your self-worth is your self-love. Once you understand this meaning, share it with all the people around you. And once you truly love yourself, then you will be the richest person you know.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that. I know you shared it at the panel and I didn't record it, so now I have it. So I'm really glad.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you so much, Rick. This was amazing. And I can't wait to share this whole chat with our worlds. And yeah, thank you. I love you.
Thank you for having me. Love being here. Thank you so much.
Yes.